Okay, Ken Leiser's back with us as he promised he would, and I love it when I see the reporter notebook out. So tell us what your reporting has told you tonight.
First of all, lest we skip over the obvious, this is a discussion about public transportation, and any part of that discussion has to deal with the fact that we're talking about people who, many people, and the gentleman from Madison County mentioned it, who have no choice. You know, they're relying on this to get to their jobs. I never go out on an assignment where I don't find somebody who's taking 2, 3, 4 different buses to get to a job 1, 2, 3 hours away from home, and then repeating it on the way home and doing it day after day after day. So I just want to make sure we're talking, you know, that those people are represented. I did hear the economic themes come through loud and clear tonight, both on the Twitter feeds and on your panels. I don't think you could ignore the fact that something really significant has happened here in the last few years in the St. Louis area. We've had, in the middle of the worst economy since the Great Depression, we had a block of voters in St. Louis County vote to increase their taxes again for public transportation, because they understood that there was an importance, there was a group of people who needed to get to and from mostly work.
And I gather they understood, or they were convinced that that had an impact on their lives.
They did. That was part of the message. That was part of the message that the campaigners for the ballot initiative repeated.
Okay, what else is on your notebook there? I know there's a few pages I see. Tell us what else stood out to you tonight.
Well, the discussion about transit-oriented development. You know, I think one of your panelists was correct. I mean, there has to be value to the development community. Right now, you look at the densities that support transit-oriented development in places with, you know, somewhat more robust public transportation systems. Your Chicago's, your Washington D.C.'s, and those densities aren't there yet. You also have a problem, and it may come out, you know, in another show, with fragmentation of ownership of properties near stations, light rail stations.
What do you
transit. Well, where you have different owners owning property and having to coordinate, you know,
get everyone
development
on board,
yeah.
as I've said too many times tonight.
So no problem. You know, right now what we have is probably something more akin to development-oriented transit, where we have you know, light rail that goes to all these activity centers, to Washington University, to the airport, to you know, you name it, downtown, Laclede Landing, the ballpark. Similar with the buses, you know, they're taking great care to create more or less a hub and spoke system, kind of like what we have in our airports, where, you know, buses feed these activity centers and connect major activity areas. And so that's the pattern.
You talked about you kind of mentioned it earlier about the buses being the future for Metro. Do you see other things happening? You know, we've heard bikes tonight. Do you see those kind of things? Because it's a lot harder to build more rail than it is to maybe connect to that rail.
Right. I mean, one of the things that, you know, that you're seeing also, you're seeing groups like TrailNet. You're seeing groups that, you know, the bicycle community, who are trying to tie into the transit network. And you know, the one you asked earlier about trends, one of the biggest trends I see is I rarely take Metrolink anymore without seeing 2 or 3 people get on with a bicycle. I never saw that 15 years ago.
All right, well, I'll stop you.